What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 72 of my Total Warhammer 3 Vlad and Isabella Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we saw off Mr. Noctilus, or Nikolaus rather, that tried to attack us, and then, as soon as his army was destroyed, he was weak enough for us to vassalize. So now we have all of the High Elves on Oath 1 with the exception of Tyrannok here, which frankly we don't really care that much about because they're weak and the only thing they own is a single gate. And then of course the Dread Fleet as well. I'd really love to get access to a few of those lovely Dread Fleet units. It doesn't look like they have the building that allows them to build Necrofexes, but at the very least Depth Guard with dual axes should come in handy in an army or two. Should be fun if we can get enough allegiance to build that up. In addition to that, we are now looking pretty good down south, at least against the Drakenhof Conclave, who have gotten considerably weaker as we've now destroyed Manfred and two of their armies. They do still have a full stack here, but now they look to be in trouble, at least a little bit, against Mr. Big Bird here, Kairos. Yeah. Matilda could certainly come down here and destroy them without too much trouble. We also got to make sure that we take the territories that we got coming to us. It looks like King Rasfa here is going to take Qatar, unfortunately, and possibly Numas as well. Man, as soon as we move down here, I like how Arkan just decided to capitalize on our impending victory and start taking all these territories for free. We're probably going to have to try to swap some territories around with him eventually, and I think the way to do that will be to send an army to attack the dwarfs, the Greybeard's prospectors, and destroy them and then start trading stuff back. Hopefully that works, as they do own and share some territories. And we can hopefully keep the Great Desert of Araby for ourselves. Anyway, before we end the turn, as we've done pretty much everything this turn last episode, we need to be wary of Boris here, who could attack Altdorf, and then even this army here, Albrecht van Blount here, is probably going to attack Weismund, which definitely can't defend itself. Now, do we care enough about Weismund to raise an army? Maybe a little bit, I'm not sure. If just a ghost, or not ghost, a zombie army could protect it, I feel like it's worthwhile to raise it temporarily. Now, in terms of free lords, we have... Okay, Edmund is disciplined. I guess we'll summon Edmund. Though, do we need to summon him here? What's the garrison like at Altdorf again? I mean, the garrison's okay, that's the thing. Maybe it's better to summon this guy at Weismund instead. Like so. And hey, we got some money back due to raise the banners, isn't that nice? And then another lord. Oh man, this is gonna cost us so much cash. But we'll delete them shortly. You can have... I guess we should just raise up Waldeck here. Might as well start leveling him up. I don't particularly care for the tactician trait, but I feel like it's much better to just get another blood dragon than it is to get any of the other lords here. Waller's coming up shortly, but I guess he'll be leading another army around. Alright, Waldekir, it's you. Our precious cash. Now, who can raise what? Okay, you can basically raise whatever you want, but primarily we just need to block the enemy here. So let's go with, let's say, I don't know, a decent amount. Oh, wow, we don't actually have a lot of zombie space here. What about here? We have, okay, here we have plenty. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and now, question for you, Edmund, do you have Unliving Host? You do not. Ooh, you don't have spells either, though, both of which could be very valuable here. Probably want to get Raised Dead if nothing else, and I guess Curse of Undeath for the casts, and then if we have one more point... Gotta go with... Hard to say. The hunger will help you heal, but if you're careful, you won't need it. Whereas Aura of Supremacy will make the enemy rout faster and make our zombies last a little bit longer. You know what? I gotta go with Aura of Supremacy for this one. And now what do we have here? Okay, a bunch of great swords. Nobody here is going to be able to kill great swords, well, with the exception of possibly towers. And we'll need something to chase down handgunners and outriders with grenade launchers. So in that light, let's get 2 dire doggos. Like so. Ooh, damn, they're expensive. Okay, maybe 2 bats, they're cheaper. Although, they won't be able to kill the grenade launchers, will they? Well, first of all, let's get a Crypt Horror here. To hold the line as well. And then I guess you need to raise some more stuff as well. Ugh. I guess you get a Crypt Horror as well, although I don't think you'll need it. And you can have, let's say, 2 skeleton spears. Like so. I think that should be sufficient. With the garrison there as well. And that's basically all our money. Will these guys still attack?
Not possible.
They might. They might also siege. We don't really have anybody who's nearby. You know what? Just summon more zombies. Honestly, if we could cancel one thing, just fill up this entire army with zombies, and they won't go anywhere. What can we cancel? Something cheap somewhere. I wish I remembered what we started building last time, just so that we could cancel something somewhere. Okay, none of... no, I don't really want to cancel the more so vineyards. You, Castle Baston, Charnel Pit, let's cancel you. We'll build you up next time around. No, you know what? No. Something else, actually. Wait, what? We just canceled it, and now it costs more. Oh, it was probably reduced because Rudy was there. Well, now we have no choice. Okay, at least the problem solved itself, sort of. Let's get you a couple bats. Mostly because we can't afford dire doggos. A couple bats and then a few more zombies. There you go. That should be plenty. There's no way they attack Weissman. There's actually a good chance that they skip it and go for Middenstag instead, but by then, Eos will be moving out, and even if they do take a few of those territories, Eos should be able to take care of them for us. Alrighty, well, I think we're prepared. We're as prepared as we're going to be. Let's end the turn, let's see where we get attacked, and let's continue. We have like 3 or 4 ambushes currently, and several of our armies are also in positions where they might get attacked as well. So I'm excited about this end turn in particular. Let's see what we got here. The worst thing... Oh, look, it's Lokir Felhar. Are you going to declare war on us? No, we were already at war, and you in fact want a peace treaty. Counteroffer. You become our vassal. Huh. Actually, with enough money, he'd probably be willing to do that. I'm not going to bother, because he hates us, and our Cathian friends also hate him, and would dislike us, but... the possibility was there, if we wanted it. Alright, followers of Nagash probably taking tons and tons of territory we don't want them to be, and aha, this guy actually did attack. Oh, interesting. Okay, well, let's do this cinematically. Should be a pretty interesting battle, if nothing else. The problem is this will be on the field, so it'll be a lot up to Edmund and up to the Crypt Horrors to do the most damage they can. Yeah. Alright, the difficulty here once again is going to be bringing down the Greatsword, so these two are going to have to make do and deal with them. Because nobody else has any armor piercing. Should be a fun time, let's get to it.
Very well.
Alright, here we go. It has been far too long since we've had one of these battles where we sent in an absolutely massive pile of zombies to overwhelm the enemy. And we truly do have a massive amount of zombies and even some skeletons this time around as well. And they are going to actually have to do work because our ability to deal armor-piercing damage is extremely limited here. And we're probably not going to do much to these great swords. But not a big deal. Handgunners are going to fire, and they are actually going to target our Crypt Horrors there. Probably a good job to them because, of course, the Crypt Horrors are the main threat on the field. I'd say that other than our lord, they're the only threat on the field. The other units are just here to hold the line while the enemy does damage. But hold the line they shall, as we have so many of them, and here come the Crypt Horrors to take advantage of that. And there we go, time to start dealing splash damage into those state troops. Obviously our bats are going to drop down onto those handgunners to silence them and prevent them from targeting our precious Crypt Horrors, while our flanking units of zombies also continue overwhelming the enemy and are starting to move in to get them in the back as well. Going to be lots of rear charges with piles of zombies from all over the place. I love these battles. This is why I think that the undead need a way, or the vampire counts need a way to be able to have zombie-wah sort of things. As this is always what the battles against them should look like. Yes, it would make them ridiculously powerful, but it'll be a campaign mechanic, and it would have to be tied to vampire corruption most likely, or something along those lines. But still, more of this, please. Alright, well, great swords, you have plenty of zombies to kill, I'm sure, but you are now completely surrounded. You got a cliff to one side, and thousands of zombies, and a few skeleton spears to the other sides as well. Even the enemy knights are starting to get overwhelmed, and while they haven't taken a massive amount of damage, they're not going to be killing 4 full stacks of zombies. Our bats are also just in a absolutely horrifying fashion, completely surrounding units of archers here and ripping them apart. And our doggos are working overtime to do the same thing to anything they can catch, really. I'm not even out there helping out to the archers now. Good. And this is, I suppose, the main portion of the battlefield where the enemy lord is, as well as the greatest concentration of enemy infantry. But also our crypt horrors are here to do the damage, so this should work out quite fine. Our crypt horrors otherwise are completely, well, maybe not completely unharmed, but like a sliver, 5% HP lost, or something like that. Also, we haven't seen warrior priests fight a lot, so it's nice to see one on occasion. Wait, you're an arch-lector, right? You're an arch-lector. I was wondering if we had a Empire Captain or an Empire General and an Arch-Elector or a Warrior Priest here, because I forgot. Not that it would have made any kind of difference. Ooh, do you have the... You have Grand Shield of Faith, but you don't have Soulfire, do you? You probably wish you had Soulfire. Man, if they had Volkmar the Grim, 1 grand Soulfire in this would have been insane. I think Volkmar would have won this battle probably by himself. He's A, extremely hard to kill, and B, he should be able to destroy piles upon piles of zombies. It looks like the great swords are starting to take damage. These guys have lost about half of their HP, and only to zombies and skeletons on this side. Looks like the Zintler's Reichsguard, the Regiment of Renown of Reichsguard, is also taking damage fighting zombies. Oh, and once again, I just love these zombie battles so much.
They are wavering!
They are wavering? Who's wavering?
Slay the man!
I don't think the zombies are wavering. Maybe one of the units will crumble, but the army is hardly wavering. Alrighty, let's see what's going on back here. Enemy remains surrounded, and I'm sure they're doing damage and getting kills, but it's not going to be enough. These great swords are also at half HP, and so are the spearmen here, and they're actually starting to run out of leadership as well. In the background, we've caught the last enemy unit of Reichsguard, or the non-regiment of renown unit of Reichsguard, rather, with our doggos, our flyers, and some zombies, and these units are just about dead. Army losses look to be doing a decent amount of damage to the enemy leadership as well here, as they're starting to drop. And I also want to point out that our lord has been summoning more zombies in the middle of this pile of enemy units this entire time. There we go, there's another one. Basically every time it's off cooldown. Partly to annoy the enemy and partly to prevent them from being able to hit the crypt horrors at all. And as we can see, now our zombies appear to be vastly outnumbering the enemy. The Arch-Elector is in bad shape as well, so he's below half HP, and our Lord is pretty much fine, and we appear to be winning at every side. These great swords holding out like heroes against endless tides of zombies and skeletons, but are slowly but surely being brought down. Not gonna win a war of attrition against the undead, at least not like this. Alright, let's see what we're looking at. The Great Sword unit is just about dead. The Empire Captain's at half HP. The Zintler's Reichsguard is dropping as well, and we should be able to catch them with our Dire Doggos and our Fellbats. Looks like these Great Swords are about to rout as well. As well they should, because they really don't have anywhere to go. Actually, you probably wouldn't want to rout in this situation, would you? You don't have anywhere to go, you're completely surrounded, you're just gonna get dragged down by hordes of zombies. This is one of those situations where your only hope to escape would probably be to try to group up and push through the ranks in one location. I mean, the zombies wouldn't be able to hold if the units tried that. Would be neat if that was a possible maneuver for units to be ordered to do, especially infantry, when they get stuck. And of course you probably would have to take commensurate damage while doing it. especially because your backs and flanks would be a lot more exposed. But anyway, there we go. The battle is ours. The overwhelming zombie hordes triumph once again. I think this is the third or fourth battle where we've done this, at least on the field. Obviously, we've summoned zombies plenty of times in high numbers in settlements. But on the field, we haven't done this too many times, and mostly with Waller. But it does seem to have gone fairly well every time. We're obviously going to give chase to the enemy, as we don't want this army to remain viable, as otherwise we can't unsummon this army. Though I suppose we may even have the ability to use this army after this. Maybe summon a few more units in here. We are near some grave markers, or battle sites, which would mean that if we wanted to soup this army up a little bit and make it viable enough to take settlements, at least temporarily, to speed up the conquest of Reichland, it would be a possibility. I'll have to think about that. We'll see what our income has dropped down to, and we'll see what the defenses at the Black Pit are like after this. Yeah. Alrighty, well, that should be it for chasing the units. It's a close victory, but since all the deaths were zombie deaths, I don't think that's a close victory at all. Alright, well, piles of zombies have done it again, and this is another army that is going to be non-viable. In fact, just the Empire Captain survived, and we, well, couldn't have chased them down anyway. Let's take the money, because we don't really care about healing in this place. I don't think this army would be able to take the Black Pit anyway, so wouldn't be all that useful. Oh, well, 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 if it isn't the Drakenhof Conclave. Counter-offer, don't give us money. Nah, you won't be our confederate, so there's no point. You won't confederate with us, rather. And hello, if it isn't Kemmler, he has indeed decided to attack us rather than to attack Kurun, which is pretty interesting. I can't say that that's a good move, because he's going to fail here. On the bright side, though, we will get the defeat trait for him, I suppose. And who knows, maybe we can steal the Razor Standard, although I'm not entirely sure whether you can steal items from the reinforcing army or only the main army that you're fighting. Who knows? Not me, that's for certain. Either way, we're going to fight this cinematically because it's two armies against one, but I once again do think that Rudy should have the advantage here. Oh, and I guess we'll be seeing Krell as well. Fun stuff.
It shall be.
Alrighty, here we go. Kemmler's come a-callin'. I suppose he is jealous of Rudy's mastery of ethereal units and wants to bind them to himself instead, but I somehow doubt that he's going to be successful at it. So here goes Rudy. He's going to move in, maybe do a little bit of damage to the bats, but that's not the goal here. Mostly it's to summon a few zombies and maybe cast a few spells, like some Spirit Leeches, onto the enemy lord or the necromancers that he's brought. Huh, neat that he's got two necromancers on foot as well as himself on a corpse guard here. Alrighty, there we go. Now that Rudy's cast a few basic spells, the rest of our army is going to move in, but Rudy himself is not. In fact, Rudy is going to go by himself towards Kemmler's army, wherein he hopes to distract them, as well as to duel the aerial units, specifically the Terrorgeists, that are coming in as reinforcements. The plan here is essentially to allow Rudy to distract the enemy with zombie summons and himself, his own body, while fighting, because of course he's our strong Necrarch, wielding his ogre blade, and using that time we hope to destroy this army such that then we would be fighting in a one-on-one battle. We'll see if the plan works out, however. Alrighty, here come our forces. The Karen Wraiths are moving in, though unfortunately their armor-piercing damage is probably, well, not probably about it, is completely wasted on units like zombies and skeleton spears. This is actually a fairly decent, well, not so much counter to Karen Wraiths, but it's a good way to tie them up, since they're not going to be doing nearly as much damage as, well, not so much they're not doing damage, but rather they are, they're not being applied properly in terms of rock, paper, scissors. Lots of enemy zombies on the field here as well everywhere, so that does mean we're getting a little bit of a taste of our own medicine as the enemy is tying us up. Rudy's moved in. He has cast a single purple Son of Zoraeus. It's obviously not really done too much damage here, but I do feel like we occasionally need to use the spell. He's also moved in and is now completely surrounded by enemy flyers. A Vargeist, a Terrorgeist, a bunch of bats as well hitting him, though he has activated his Undeath Resurgent and Dark Protection. Probably shouldn't have activated those at the same time, to be perfectly honest, though they aren't exactly even in terms of their time, but he certainly doesn't need 105 melee defense. On the bright side, he's not really being hurt while those are up, and he does have the extra 20 ward save when he does use it. Anyway, his goal is going to be to kill the enemy Terrorgeist, and he will continue casting his Spirit Leeches while doing that, though unfortunately for us, the second Terrorgeist that was part of Kemmler's army, as well as a unit of Vargeists, have decided to move in and go after the rest of our army. On the bright side, though, our Mortis Engine is here, and the Cairn Wraiths should be doing a little bit more damage to these guys. Terrorgeists are fairly decently armored, and thus we will be getting some use out of all that max armor piercing damage. Our Morgungls are ripping apart the enemy skeletons here, but honestly this entire army is not really having any kind of problem killing everything. They're just being delayed. And there we go, good job. Zombies and Skellies good here, and now we're going to charge our Hex Wraiths into both the back of these enemy units and to try to surround and kill both the Necromancers, or all three of the Necromancers rather, and to push them towards the Morgungls where they can help out as well. Very nice. Looks like the first of the enemy armies is pretty much done for. The balance of power is about even, considering what's on the field. And the enemy is moving a few more units onto the field as well. And the Terrorgeist here is taking quite a lot of damage, perhaps surprisingly. It looks like the Cairn Wraiths as well as the Mortis Engine are very much sufficient in terms of dishing out a lot of damage to this thing fairly quickly. In the meantime, Rudy is still fighting. He remains holding. He continues to hold. He remains holding, yes. I am tremendously eloquent today. He continues to hold against the entire enemy army, pretty much. The enemy Terrorgeist is pretty much dead as well, and now Rudy has decided to activate his Potion of Healing and his Invocation of Nehek, which should bring him up to roughly full HP. We're going to continue summoning zombies to prevent this army from going anywhere, and in fact, Krell is fighting in the middle of this the entire time as well, wasting his time on zombies while Rudy kills his aerial support. Looks like that Terrorgeist has decided to run, but we get another Spirit Leech going on him as well. I do love watching Krell fight. Too bad we can't steal Krell somehow, bind Krell to us instead of to Kemmler, but oh well. And there we go, looks like the Terrorgeist has come back, and that should mean that Rudy should be able to kill it. I also once again want to point out that the Vargeists have been hitting Rudy this entire frickin' time, and he's still relatively okay. He still has the hunger, he still has Invocations of Nehek, so I don't imagine he'll be having too much difficulty. And there is the second purple Son of Zoraeus. Once again, not going to do a crazy amount of damage to any of this, especially the single entity or low entity units, but, you know, it's something. Increase our damage a little bit and use our mana, because otherwise we are wasting a little bit. There we go. Chase down that Terrorgeist now, who has very low HP, 44 in fact, and down it goes. Oh, I like how the bony arm of that spell drops down with it. The first army has also now completely been destroyed, including the Necromancers, and we are now ready to face off against the second. The enemies moved a Mortis Engine completely unsupported here against us, where our Cairn Wraiths should be able to destroy it here. Seems like a terrible move to keep that thing unsupported. While our own Mortis Engine is moving together with the Morgungls and with the Necromancer, we will be having to fight a Vargulf here as well, but I do imagine a pile of Morgungls plus the Mortis Engine should be able to destroy it, and then we will have support coming in shortly as well. Oh, and look, some Graveguard with great swords coming in, and there we are, finally. This is something that our Cairn Wraiths should be decent against, though it's more of a trade-off, as in they're going to be doing damage to us, because of course now the Graveguard do magical damage, but we will be doing armor-piercing damage to them. I do wonder in a direct contest, who would win. I would imagine it should be the Graveguard, because they should have more HP and hold the line longer. Plus, of course, they do the magical damage. But hard to say. We'll give it a test at some point, I'm sure. Looks like the aerial battle is going very much in Rudy's favor now. He's killed the Terrorgeist. The bats are in bad shape, or in bat shape. I haven't made that joke nearly enough in this campaign. And the Vargeists are slowly starting to die as well. The zombies are still continuing to hold the ground against the rest of Kemmler's army. And the Kemmler's army is also pressed up against this impassable terrain. Little cliff here, which is also not working out so well for them, unfortunately. Oh, I do love his color scheme, though. It's quite nice. Especially the bronze armor of the Black Knights, together with the with Kemmler's colors. Lovely. But anyway, they've held too long, and now our own Mortis engine has arrived, and so have our Mourngulls, so we no longer really need to summon the zombies. And here comes the rest of our forces, kind of ignoring the Vargulf, mostly because we can, and it's not going to do all that much damage, to go for the enemy. Looks like the last of the Vargeists start dropping, the bats are all dead. Rudy has won in the air, and is now nearly at full HP. Beautiful. Now it's time for him to turn on Kemmler himself, and he'll go for a Krell afterwards, if he needs to. Kemmler's being distracted by our own summoned zombies this entire time. And with Rudy at full HP on his dragon and casting repeated Spirit Leeches, I don't imagine that Kemmler has much of a chance, and has already dropped to below half HP and is dying. The rest of his army is also in very bad shape as well now that our ghosts are here. Kemmler probably watches on in jealousy as his own army is ripped apart by ethereal units. And the battle, just like that, should be pretty much ours. Kemmler dying, he drops, both debilitated, or crumbles rather, as well as gets hit by Rudy, and the rest of his army is gone. Of course, as we saw last time, though, most of this army is fairly likely to survive, I would think. I get a few hits on Krell as well, and there we go. Looks like Krell crumbled apart. And a nice shot, though. Looks like he hit the dragon, and the dragon got knocked away. That was pretty nice. I really wish that you could hide this. There's no way to hide this thing for, like, paused shots at the end of the battle, is there? Does anybody know? Maybe there's a mod to do that specifically. It's been something that I've been wanting, because this looks like a pretty good shot otherwise. But anyway, a close victory apparently, though I'm not actually entirely sure why. We didn't really take much damage at all, and, well, I suppose we did use a lot of mana, so the close victory is probably due to the Winds of Magic. But hey, I suppose I'll take it. Good fight. Well, there we go. Once again, Rudy is victorious, and our strong Necrarch certainly living up to that moniker, and being an absolute hero, holding back Kemmler's entire army by himself until the first army was destroyed. He didn't get a crazy amount of kills, but his damage is pretty damn up there. I mean, these guys did 10,000 damage, but got a fair bit more kills than Rudy did, but Rudy did 53,000 damage. He took out and killed the terror. Well, took out and killed. Yeah, thanks. He killed the terror guys by himself, and the Vargeists and the bats that were around him. Then dropped down on Kemmler, all while holding the army back with zombie summons and the occasional spell. Well done, buddy. I'm very proud of you, as always. And let's heal up slightly. We are going to continue fighting, and we're not in our own territory. Now, decent amount of the enemy will survive, and I will be curious to see how effective they will be. And another battle. Okay, it looks like Vilitch has fallen for our ambush. A triple battle episode, sure. Alrighty. I don't usually do these because, well, it's an insane amount of editing, but we'll do one more battle. We did a lot of admin, I think not last episode, but the episode before that, so we might as well do a lot of battles this time around, and just for a change of pace. Now, this is both of our ghoul armies. We don't actually need both to defeat this, I wouldn't think. Though, if there's one thing I've learned in my Vilitch campaign, is that Vilitch is an extremely scary and tanky lord, and quite difficult to kill. And we'll be seeing how effective he is when Renki and his Terrorgeists drop down on him. Anyway, yet another cinematic battle. Here we go. Well, it's certainly been a while since I've done 3 cinematic battles in a single episode, but at the least, with this particular episode, the 3 battles have been pretty different from each other. First, we got the massive zombie battle, and then we got the standard battle with Rudy versus his 2 armies, or Kemmler's 2 armies, and now we have an ambush battle. None of the armies would be similar to each other at all. Alrighty, well, the battle is not yet joined, but looks like Vilitch is going to get first blood casting that pink fire at us. Luckily for us, he seems to have cast at least in part on the Graveguard, so they're not really nearly as threatened by it as the Skeleton Spears are, though I do expect quite a few more casts of this spell to come down. We do need to try to take Vilitch out so that he stops that, so we're going to drop in Renki together with his 2 Terrorgeists, although because Vilitch is a small model, it's probably going to be very difficult for them to do too much to him. On the bright side, though, I'm pretty sure that the Graveguard and the Crypt Horrors should be able to take care of these Aspiring Champions and Forsaken reasonably quickly without them, and we can always move a couple of the Terrorgeists away to deal with the Chaos Knights, for example. Alrighty, and as we see, I think there was another pink fire gun from Vilitch here, and yeah, 100... Well, 100. Maybe 40% damage to the Skeleton Spear unit, and they're in weak binding and on fire because of that. So, good job to Vilitch. It's a scary, scary, spammable spell, sort of like Searing Ruin, that we're going to be seeing many a time here, as long as Vilitch is alive. Otherwise, we've essentially blobbed up the rest of our units, which does sort of play into the hands of the enemy with regard to the pink fires at the very least, but it does work in terms of keeping the enemy blobbed up as well. Ooh, looks like Vilitch is going to target blue fires at the Mortis engine, though fortunately the Mortis engine is a little bit too tough for it. And that pink fire actually looked like it moved through its own units quite a bit, though perhaps he doesn't care for the lives of his own marauders and just wants to kill our skeletons. Or he used this on the zombies here. Maybe that's why. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, we have sent the Terrorgeist to attack those knights, those Chaos Knights specifically. And it moved away a little bit from attacking Vilitch as well, though we're still trying, and now he has his bodyguard of Chaos Knights to try to help him out. The rest of the battle is going fairly decently for us. Obviously, we're not going to be able to do too much to the Chaos Spawn or Trolls while they're back here being distracted by zombies. There's another pink fire of Tzeentch coming down. But fortunately, as long as we hold, we will eventually win here. A and B, Renki's brother, Roddy, is coming in with more Terrorgeists, more Flyers, more Crypt Horrors, and more everything. Not that it looks like he's going to be needed here, as the enemy army is in pretty bad shape already. The balance of power is vastly in our favor now, and the enemy has lost half its troops. And Vilitch is also starting to lose HP, as he's now dropping close to half, especially now that Renki has once again found him and is no longer distracted by Forsaken. Plus, he's poisoned by the Terrorgeist here, or the Crypt Horrors here. Speaking of the Terrorgeist, they are going after the enemy Knights now, and I'm going to give a little bit of a chase as more Terrorgeists drop in. I don't think I've ever had this many Terrorgeists on the field at once before. So we got 4 regular Terrorgeists and then 2 Lords on Terrorgeists as well. Trying to get to that giant with Rod here, but the Chaos Spawn are kind of in the way. Trying to knock him out there, Rod. I hate how the units block each other and then they end up not doing anything. It's really bizarre. The game really needs to do better to recognize that that happens and then force the unit to actually attack whatever's in front of it. And there we go. I think the giant is trying to run away. Actually got pretty badly damaged, and the battle is ours. Vilitch is very nearly dead, though he did stick around for quite a while, to be fair. I just want to see him go down here. Alright, and the Crypt Horrors aren't going to do it, but it looks like Renki is going to get the... No! Looks like Vilitch is going to get back up. And Renki's going to fly off, so it looks like it'll be up to the Crypt Cores who will be able to finally bring him down. Or no, Renki's going to drop in once again. Man, even when he's running, he's difficult to bring down. Quite impressive. Yeah, in my Vilitch campaign, I've had him duel so damn many lords, and Vilitch always, pretty much always comes out of it completely unharmed, because he just keeps getting his barrier back up and running. Alrighty, well, I'm sure they'll chase him down eventually. He has 59 HP remaining, so anything hitting him will kill him at this point. As long as it hits, and it looks like that Renki will bring him down. Even use the Spirit Leech at the end there just to make sure of it. And almost look, huh. Wait, so Vilitch doesn't die, he just walks through a portal when he dies. Oh, that is cool, I've never seen that before. That's really interesting. That also makes me think that I have seen Vilitch die very, very few times. Anyway, obviously, the battle is over. We did outnumber the enemy and ambush them, and in many ways we did have the advantage here, as we had a lot of armor piercing and our Terrorgeists to deal with the enemy large units, plus the enemy had a lot of relatively weak units in addition to its elites, so they were never going to be all that threatening. Most of the damage looks like it came from Vilitch damaging our skeleton spears and our graveguard with that pink fire spam, but otherwise it doesn't look like we took all that much damage. Gonna try and kill everything, as I do believe the army will survive regardless of it being an ambush. And it would be nice not to have to fight it again in auto-resolve, especially as we would be in Chaos territory and would then suffer attrition A, and then B, be closer to that Chaos Corruption debuff that will, I think, lower our melee defense, which we obviously don't want on our lords, but is probably going to happen eventually, because we do have to raise a lot of stuff. Anyway, there we go. Decisive victory. Vilitch is out, and let's see if that is the last of the battles that are coming in with the end of this turn. Alrighty, 93 losses on our side. That's more than we've suffered in many a battle. So good job to Vilitch. He did quite a bit of damage at 17,000, repeatedly popping those pink fires of Zinchov, and as we saw, he was quite difficult to bring down as well. Very nice, Vilitch. And I guess we're in our own territory, right? So we don't technically need to heal, but honestly, I'm not sure whether we're actually healing in this territory or not. You know, let's just heal anyway. It's such a small amount of money that at this stage, it doesn't really matter. Alright, any more battles? Lewin, what do you want, buddy? You want us to join war against Throg? Yes, we will, but not now. Eventually. How about you become our vassal instead? Maybe later? Okay. Alright, ooh, and I see he's moving up to the Blackstone Post as well. Albrecht probably wants something as well, a military alliance. How about you become our vassal instead? No, not quite there. Yeah. How much money would you give us for those? 3k? Yeah, it's not worth it. If it was like 20k, then I was like, sure. And another ambush, this time against Wulfric. You know what? I think we're going to save this one for next time around, and this is where we're going to call it. Man, the entire episode is essentially between turns, which is kind of interesting, but I have no idea how long this episode is going to be because it requires a lot of editing to do that many cinematic battles. Maybe I should have fought them, at least one of them regular style, but they all look pretty damn fun, damn it. Anyway, this is where we're going to call it. Next time, after we fight Wulfric off, we'll see where we have ended up and what we can take. Stay tuned for more, hopefully a more balanced episode next time between battles and progress. Don't forget to leave a like and comment. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.